Hello everyone and welcome to Walford Weekly, your weekly EastEnders podcast, where this week we'll be discussing the episodes released on the BBC in the UK from Monday the 21st to Thursday the 24th of March 2022. Hello, I'm back. Listen to my voice. I'm much better, thank you for asking. And I cannot do this podcast on my own. I never would do this on my own. I would always want to do it with my good old chum, Rob. Hello Rob, how are you?
Hello there, Alex. You are looking so much better and sounding, I'll be honest, you sound less manly than you did last week. You were very deep last week and all sorts of graveliness going on. And now we're back up to nice Julian Clary type levels. It's good to hear. Good to have you back. Are you feeling all right?
Lovely,
feeling
Rob.
better?
No, Rob, you were so nice to me up until this point. You know, we were having a nice little chat before we started. We were having a saying about what our weeks were
just
like.
showing off in front of the
and
listeners.
Having problems with my car. And then, so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As soon as the cameras come on, you like to show off, don't you?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's lovely to be back to normal. I have to be honest. It's so much better to be back to normal. And I want to say to everyone who wished me well, thank you ever so much. I did appreciate them. And I tried to answer to most of them. If I didn't answer back to you, it doesn't mean I didn't care. I did 100% care, and thank you so very, very much. But I am back on form, and I'm very excited to talk about this week's EastEnders. Right, Rob, where should we start? What do you want to start with? Shall we start with a little bit of the Panesars? Because the Panesars are getting themselves a bit of a juicy storyline and a rivalry as well, we found out this week, as there's another family called the Sharmas, which makes me think... Is that another family introduced to the show? Because we know that there's this rivalry between them, and they try to deliberately get Kheerat kept in prison by him pleading guilty until Dot found out about the plan and used Eve to help out. Find information about them, and was able to then get them a decent solicitor and get Kheerat out of prison. Very exciting. And Suki's welcomed Dotty into the family as well.
Yes, the Panesar's on a right busy old week. Now, how easy was it? Now, so we'll go through all this again, because I got a little bit confused with all of this. So Kheerat pleaded guilty, yes, and that was enough for the courts to go, well, at least you're being honest. Off you go, and he was able to just leave. Was it literally that simple? He was just allowed out again?
No.
Because I thought he'd said that he was...
No, the solicitor...
I thought he'd said he pleaded not guilty.
Yeah, so the solicitor who wanted Kheerat to stay in prison, who worked for the Sharmas, the family of the Sharmas, wanted him to plead guilty so that he would stay in prison indefinitely. But then they found out about this, so then they got a new solicitor and they then got him to plead not guilty, and then he got released because there was circumstantial evidence, and I don't think that they could use Gray's testimony as a justification, so he got out pretty much straight away. But again, we didn't get the courtroom scenes, we didn't get the background information.
No,
but it literally kind of felt very important in this occasion.
No, it literally kind of felt as though Kheerat had just said, I'm not guilty, and they'd gone, I wasn't really relying on you saying that. I suppose I haven't really got anything though. Goodbye, cheers, thanks for coming, and that was about it. But he's back on the square, he's back home, Suki's delighted, and the Panesars are now building themselves up again. Yes, now, all these little crumbs that we're getting for the Panesars, I want to get excited about them, Alex, I really do. But we've been, we've had crumbs flicked at us, for about the past 2 years with the Panesars, and maybe we were actually trying to get something now, because I feel like there's more to it than just this other family, because the dodgy solicitor said something to Suki this week about, remember the last time that you didn't take my advice, and Suki kind of looked all sort of foreboding and kind of worried about it. Do you remember? So, is that related to Daddy Panesar, perhaps? Are we finally going to find out something about Daddy Panesar? Is stuff on the horizon? That's what I want to know. Is stuff coming?
Yeah, maybe, because like I said, Dotty's now been introduced into the family now because she said that, you saved my son's life. So that's another kind of Panesar build up, if you ask me. And I wonder if that is a kind of a let-in for Daddy Panesar. Maybe now they've got a new solicitor, one they can trust, one that doesn't work for the rival family. Maybe they're going to now be able to get the dad out as well. Which makes me think, like I said, we've been talking about it for a few weeks. They must be... Normally a new executive producer brings in a new family, and I just feel like that's a little hint to me that perhaps could be, because wouldn't that be interesting, a rivalry, the Panesars with the Sharmas? Yeah. That would be a really interesting rivalry for me. And it brings them then into the centre of the show as well, I think. As long as it doesn't get too shenanigan-y, And perhaps we could find some really good and juicy stories going forward with them.
Yes, I'm excited. I mean, we might never see them. We might just be aware that this family's around the corner, and all we'll get now for the next 5 years is just occasional scenes with Suki going, well, they're bloody Sharmas, and like just holding a fist up at the horizon or something. We never meet them. But no, I would like to meet them, and I quite like the idea of like this kind of corner shop war and all of this kind of thing. Bring it on! I love it, and I love it when the Panesars get all sort of kind of underworld and the stuff going on, and Suki handles all that kind of thing brilliantly. So yes, I want to see all of that, please. But also, like I said last week, I also want to see the fallout from Ben being responsible for Jags' death, and it seems that we're not getting anything. It's not like Kheerat has gathered any evidence from that when he was inside, because he's now out with a big old smile on his face, and you wouldn't be out with a big old smile on your face if you'd have just discovered that somebody that you're working with was responsible for your brother's death. So that's not coming out that time. So do you feel that anything like that is ever going to come out, or is that just going to be one of those sorts of forgotten about secrets?
I feel like it's just going to be forgotten now. I just think it's just going to be dropped. I think that was the story that they did at the time, and it was almost convenient for the time because it kind of explained away Jags' death and also, Ben's responsibility for it. I mean, they are still kind of sticking to the Ben story of his depression with this week. So I guess if they're going to reintroduce it, now's as good a time as any to perhaps reintroduce it, because obviously that could then push him a bit further along. But then, I mean, he got reaccepted into the family.
Ben needs an excuse.
Ben. So yes. he maybe the story's just going to be dropped and forgotten. I mean, they did bring back up. They kind of brought back up Jags again this week, but no, I hope not either. And it's nice that it's there. I just hope it's remembered that it's there too. I mean, there's always been, there's the undertone as well of the Mitchells and the Panesars. They've got together, Kheerat and Ben both run the garage together. There's other ventures they want to do going forward, but Phil's not too keen about it happening, nor Suki particularly. So, I mean, if we put the Sharmas to one side, perhaps then we could reopen the idea that perhaps the Panesars and the Mitchells start a feud together soon as well. I mean, there is so much potential with the Panesars, and we say this every week. There's loads of people say it on Twitter as well, all kinds of social medias. Why? So I really hope that they start unlocking that potential, because they've just been bubbling along in the background. And I hope that more of it comes. Yeah,
just tantalising, haven't they? They've just been such a tantalising family. And such an irresistible family that we want. It's not an easy thing to come into a soap and become as a whole group of people, and you instantly want to know more about them. Like, sometimes families come in and you just kind of like, oh, okay, they're there. All right, you're doing that story with them. Oh, okay. Same storyline that you did with Sharon 5 years ago. How fascinating. But this is a potentially really, really interesting family and a really good group of characters that work really well together on screen. And as we say every week, want to know more. Make sure it happens. Please, please, please give us more Panesars. And, new era. That's always exciting. Fresh new brains on the horizon for the storylining and all that kind of thing. So yes, bring it on. I really, really hope we get it.
Me too. Right, so a story that's been carrying on this week was Jean's story as well. Stacey has accepted that Jean is dangerous for her family now, and she doesn't want her around the kids anymore. Jean made a huge error by deciding to take Arthur, after pushing Arthur, by the way, off the bouncy castle. And with that push alone, his face changed into a whole new person. And he
the
then got taken to the tube station. It was like the Doctor regenerating. He went to the tube station. Jean then explained to him that his dad had died and that Gray was responsible for it. And that was it. That was the catalyst that basically stopped Jean having any acceptance in the Slater family. But she started saying to Harvey that Stacey is the one that you need to keep an eye on. I mean, again, what's happening with Jean? What seems to be unlocking with her and her
presumably
mania?
She's in the... Yeah, I mean, presumably she's in the middle of some really manic episode. I just wish that we hadn't seen her. I'd like to know, kind of what's going on with her medication, because we've seen her taking her medication. Well, we had one scene where she was taking her medication, which presumably is supposed to be evidence to us that she is taking it. So I want to know kind of what, is it just not working anymore, or what's going on? Because clearly Jean is not well. I tell you what, that scene at the train station was quite scary, actually. Just the way that she just sort of led him down, because you kind of, for the first time, you sort of understood where Stacey was coming from in terms of you're not safe around the kids. Like, you need to not be around the kids without supervision. Although I do want to talk briefly about this bloody underground station. The one in Walford that seems to be unmanned by absolutely nobody. The one where, like, apparently it's a private tube station. Well, apparently it's a private despite all the signs all over the wall. It's like fake ones. You know, like fake traffic cams that you get along the M62 that are just there to make drivers slow down. They're there to stop people from pushing you in front of a train. But if you do that, I'm afraid we haven't seen you, so carry on. And it seems to be a train station where the trains don't stop at. No train stops at this station. It just kind of goes through. I have never seen a London Underground station do that. Have you? I've been to London enough times. I've been on the Underground and I've never seen a train go through a station without stopping. So that happens. And also it does appear that this station is a private station purely for the residents of Albert Square and nobody else. It's the quietest tube station on earth. Anyway. But yeah, no, the whole Gene stuff
you're
is really, really
right.
good.
And I always thought that the Walford station was an above ground station. So though it was a tube, it was an above ground tube. So I don't quite know, is it another tube station? Because earlier, a few years back, Bobby went up onto there and it was an above ground station and Callum saved him from walking through the tunnel. So I don't quite know where it is.
No, I would love to sort of know. I'd literally love to look at a London Underground map and stick Walford in there as well and just kind of see how it all kind of goes. Because like you say, it just seemed to be about 3 different stations leading into Albert Square. Nobody wants to go to Albert Square that badly. They might want to leave. Fair enough. They might, because whenever we go to kind of the tube set in terms of, I mean the ones with, with the steps and, all that sort of thing. There's always people kind of coming in and out of it all the time on a constant loop. Like they just kind of walk around the set. Kind of go round. So it's not like we never see anybody ever going in and out of it. But anyway, that's just nitpicking, I suppose, and just set things. And I suppose if there was lots of people around, they wouldn't have been able to do that scene. So that kind of worked out well for them. Anyway, the Gene stuff was really, really good this week, and I am sort of fascinated by what's going on. I really liked the whole scenes with Gene and Stacey, because it seems like so long since those two have been able to really, especially Lacey Turner, like she it's been a while since she's been able to really get her teeth into something and have a big old row. And I really liked that scene between her and Gene on the platform where Gene was hurling abuse at her. Gene's such a nice person when she's in this mode, is she? Really? She's not the sort of the friendliest woman when she's in manic mode. Bless her. And now she's gone off on holiday with
not
Harvey
Jangly Jean
again. She is not Jangly Jean. So she's gone off with Harvey on holiday again. Now I'm sort of interested to see what Harvey is doing here, because he knows now what Gene, he knows about Gene's bipolar. And we've said in the past that it was kind of possible that we know that his ex had mental health problems. So you'd think that maybe he's taken her away to sort of get the run of what she needs to do. What do you think? Is he gonna be any help to her, or do you reckon Stacey's sort of on her own with this?
It's really odd, isn't it? Because, although Harvey's now been given all the information, and they had that conversation between Harvey and Stacey, and that's where Stacey said, she's all nice and bells and whistles with you right now, but it takes us one thing. The way she's treating me is the way that I know she can become quite dark and quite cruel, and Harvey seems to know it, but is not embracing it, but kind of trying to work through it. Do you know what I mean? So he's it's almost like he doesn't, it's not that he's ignoring that it's happening. It's more that he knows it's happening, but it's like he thinks he can do better. He thinks he could maybe calm Jean down. Yeah. And he thinks the responsible thing to do is to take her. And so the responsible thing is for him to take Jean away, which is clearly not the right thing to do. And it's really distressed, Stacey, to the point where she's kind of now in limbo what to do next. Does she feel concern for Jean, or does she just think, well, I've kind of said to Jean, my mum, I don't want any more to do with her. And so, that's what's happened. A clean break has happened. But she did make that appointment with the doctor on Jean's behalf, but they can't see her for 3 weeks. Yes. So presumably then we've got 3 more weeks of this to come. I mean, I know that they are filming scenes off the square with Jean, I won't say what the
Yes.
photographs that they showed. If you want to find out spoilers, then go online. You can find them yourself. But obviously, there's the break that she takes with Harvey. So I don't know. Would this be an occasion where Jean could like kind of run away, and Harvey's then loses Jean?
Maybe
there's more to come, or will Jean come back to the square without Harvey? Like, you know, what's going to happen?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, if this appointment's 3 weeks away, how long is this holiday going to be for? Because it seems like they've sort of just like gone spontaneously. So we could be following them more next week. I'd be quite interested to see that. Yeah, it's really, and I loved that scene with that quite long scene with Stacey and Harvey as they were sort of talking, and Stacey was really just kind of giving Harvey, oh, are you aware that she's you know, she's slit her wrist in front of me? Are you aware that she tried to drown herself? Are you aware? And just kind of giving it cards on the table about what Jean is like in this when she's like this. And Harvey kind of seemed a bit perturbed by it, but then once he'd been to see Aaron, who we'll talk about in a moment, because it seems that he's properly back.
Yes.
Because he's, you know, fully in the cast list amongst all the others and all that kind of thing. So Aaron's stuff is going on, and I'm really intrigued to see where that's going. And that's messing with Harvey a little bit, I think. So I think that's his main reason for sort of going, right, yeah, cool, let's go on holiday. I need to get away from all of this. See you later. If you've got mental health problems, we'll deal with that. It's better than my racist son in prison. I raise you, and off we go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how it all sort of blends together, because presumably the Aaron stuff is going to start ramping up a little bit, but because he's in prison, I'm sort of intrigued as to how bad he can be. And I also don't think that Aaron is getting as beaten as badly as he says he is, because he doesn't look like he's been beaten that badly. He had like a bit of a cut on his head. It's not like he was black and blue, is it? So is he sort of trying to just manipulate Harvey a little bit? Because he's acting as though he's really scared.
Do you think?
Talking about people that have him sugared and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I think he's manipulating Harvey. I think he has been beaten up around a bit, but it doesn't look like anything. Because if you remember, we've been told about Aaron's perchance for violence. Aaron is more than capable of, you know, sort of nearly blinding someone. Remember, if you remember the violence that he's put on other people as the reason why he's in there. And it's nothing close to what Aaron appears to have had done to him. So I'm sceptical as to whether Aaron is actually telling the truth or not. Right.
So do you think it might be because he wants Harvey to kind of retract his, because he's still got that statement and he's still kind of, he initially pushed his dad over the phone to kind of take that statement back. I don't know, when's it the point of no return for that? I mean, the only thing I can think of is perhaps in court, if Harvey's being questioned, he could then kind of say, oh, actually, no. And then the statement could be retracted there. I don't know. I mean, that's a promise of a courtroom scene, which we could be very much excited about seeing. You know, I mean, I'm obsessed with courtroom scenes at the moment. So,
what's wrong with
that's
us?
interesting you say about Aaron, because actually now you said that, I know, now you said that about Aaron, it's like he could clearly inflict damage on someone, unless he was kind of like attacked unaware. He could clearly inflict damage on other people quite heavily.
Yeah,
he's not,
but he doesn't look that
shy.
He doesn't look that beaten, does he? No, exactly. But if he is, like, presumably his way of doing things, we've been led to believe is sort of the gang approach, and, you know, sort of overwhelm the victim and go for it and punch and kick and blind and really injure. And if the way that he's describing it is that he's not just got a problem with one person, he's kind of got, you know, essentially he's paying for his crimes in more than one way. So we would imply that there's gangs after him. He does not look like he's been beaten by gangs of people. He looks like he's been in one punch up and had like a punch to the side of the head and has got like a cut on the side of his face. To Harvey, he may as well have had all his limbs amputated because that's his son, and that's terrifying for him. So yeah, I'm really not convinced that Aaron is telling the truth here, and I think that might be how he gets out of prison, because he will manipulate Harvey to the point where clearly Aaron can't survive in prison. I need to retract my statement and hope that he turns into a better person once he's out. So bring it on, because I'm really pleased he's back. I can't believe how excited I am about a kind of right-wing extremist racist who wants to blow up mosques. I don't know why his character excites me so much, but he does. Hey, what can I say? The heart likes what the heart likes.
He's an interesting character, and he's very built. He's got a lot of dimensions added to him, and you know, and it's to be fair, we said this before, it's quite of its time. You know, it's something that it's not something that we're not seeing now. You know, we see quite regularly extremism especially on social media. But, you know, in the world out there, the protests, there were protests last year. And, you know, just in politics as well, that, you know, that it seems to be creeping in that regard as well, you know, right wing extremism. So I think that's why it's interesting, because it feels like it's reflective, and that's what EastEnders should be about. It should be reflective. It doesn't mean you should like.
Exactly.
It does feel like EastEnders, and it doesn't mean you need to like Aaron because, you know, he's going to have a redemption story. In a way, I hope he doesn't have a redemption story, because I'd much rather that he no. Because I'd much rather he doesn't, and I'd much rather that, you know, this story continues by how far he will go to lie, cheat, and you know, to get his way, you know, what he believes is the right way for the country to be run, and so on and so forth. So yeah, exciting.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. And we are going to carry on talking about the stories of EastEnders straight after these messages.
Spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning in your pants. And trust me, your confidence will be blooming like the flowers this upcoming spring. Time to clear out that winter bush and join the other 4 million men who trust Manscaped. Use the code Walford to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Manscaped are the global leaders in men's below-the-waist grooming and have forever changed the grooming game with their amazing Performance Package 4.0. Inside this ball care bundle, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is a pube assassin that is waterproof and equipped with an LED light, so you bet it's a major key to the new shower routine. The Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate nose and ear holes. And why not complete your grooming game this spring with a new refined cologne signature scent by Manscaped? This stuff is legit and will have you smelling like royalty. And if you purchase now, you will receive 2 free gifts, the Performance Boxer Briefs and Shed Travel Bag. So smell and feel good this spring with 20% off and free shipping with the code Walford at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Walford, WALFORD, at manscaped.com. Time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.
Hello and welcome back. Glad you can join us again. And now we are going to talk about Tommy's storyline and him continuing to be bullied. Kat has a bit of a side project where she's hiding her gun that she's kind of delivering for Phil, who's in prison at the moment. And this is where Ben was also reintroduced this week, as we said earlier on the show, because Kat asked him for help with said gun, because she caught Bert and Ernie running around with the gun playing Ghosts and Cowboys or something like that. I don't quite know what was going on. But one of them was wearing the envelope as a hat. We all have been. And the other one was kind of running around going, bang, bang, you're dead. And Kat, quite rightly, panicked and grabbed the gun off them. But let's first
her own fault for putting us in such a stupid place. Yes, we will talk about Tommy, but what a stupid place to put that gun. Honestly, Kathleen, get a grip, woman. Honestly.
But also, Tommy then put his bag in the exact same place. So that hiding place is going to be notorious, because not only does it hold Phil's baseball bat, but now it's had a gun in there and now a knife that was used to kind of bludgeon a bully, but accidentally, because he kind of fell on his bag, didn't he? Which had the knife inside of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tommy's had a heck of a time, hasn't he? Really, really scary.
He has. None of this week when none of this story went how I thought it was going to go. Do you think they did this deliberately? Was the way that gun was positioned in the cupboard and the fact that they had the broken door and all that kind of thing? It kind of made it seem quite obvious that Tommy was going to go, screw the knife, I've got a gun now, try and mess with me now. But none of that happened. And I feel like it was that much of a sort of but I feel like it was that much of a reversal that it was supposed to be just a red herring, and we thought that Tommy was going to get his hands on it. Because in the end, the only thing that really happened with the gun was, yes, Bert and Ernie kind of had a little play with it and scared Kat into giving it to Ben, and then Ben walked off with the gun. So the gun really wasn't even that important to the week, which was quite surprising. Or maybe it's not that important.
It was almost irrelevant,
maybe
really.
There's more to come with it. Almost. But maybe there's more to come with the gun, because we don't really know what it was for or where Ben has taken it. Because Ben literally just walked out on the street with a little package of a gun. Just walked out. She just kind of walked out with a gun. It's quite normal in Walford, to be fair, isn't it? Walford police aren't going to bother about that. There we go. I'll tell you what, the bigger thing about this week, and yes, we've kind of waxed lyrical about, Tommy and the little actor who got his first Duff this week, and I've never been so proud of a fictional character in my life, and got his name first on the credits. Not many kids get that, do they? That's nice. Good for him. I'm really pleased to see it, actually. But this week was all about the kids, wasn't it? All the kids suddenly turning out Oscar-winning performances. Like, little Pearl got some lines. Arthur's been recast, and he got all his emotional stuff with Jean. Tommy's getting his stuff as well. Yeah. All the kids are getting... Will's getting a role now. Like, Will's playing, like, the heartbroken teenager. Yeah. So that's all the kids stepping up. I loved it. It's great. And they can all act.
I can't believe
exciting.
How much...
Look at our next generation, Alex.
I cannot believe... I cannot believe, we will talk about Jada and Will and that story in a moment, but I cannot believe how much Will has grown up as well. Like, he's shot up.
Oh, I know.
Like, so he's like a young man. Very young man.
He's like 11 foot tall now, isn't he?
He's not as tall as Peterbilt. Peterbilt is still the Green Giant of the square. However, if he has a little companion, then the little Green Giant can be Will. So that's fine by us. But. Yeah. We're going off subject a little bit here because there is the topic of Tommy. Obviously, he didn't carry out the knife. He kind of used it as a threat, but it has eventually now caused him to cause harm to the bully because he was tricked into meeting them at the park after they kind of wanted to beat him up because they felt like they got him in trouble with Mr. Baptiste, Isaac. And Isaac had warned Kat earlier in the week as well that, he's seeing the bullying is carrying on. And unfortunately for Kat, she didn't catch it in time. So then when Will came home and you could tell that he was really like upset and forlorn, that Kat then kind of said, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" And there was that really sweet moment. It's like, I'm sorry, Mum. I didn't, I think I've done something really bad. I've done something wrong, but he didn't say what it was. That first of all, he just left that kid bleeding, and the kid said also while he's bleeding, it's not stopping. Why is it not stopping? So what's going to happen with that kid as well? What's Tommy done exactly? Tommy needs. I'm really hoping it's fixed before.
I know, it's quite exciting. I mean, we had a lot of kid dialogue this week as well, didn't we? The kid, I think Sid, at one point turned around and went, "You've shanked me," which honestly, there's a whole generation of stuff that I don't understand all of a sudden. And it's getting given to me by EastEnders of all things. All these words coming out. That's peak, mate. When did that become a thing? That's peak. You've shanked me. None of this makes any sense to me.
I'll be... To be fair though, Rob, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't particularly take the writers of EastEnders who are writing for younger characters as the lexicon of things that young people say. No. I'll be honest with you.
No.
I'd never want to remind myself of that TikTok moment with Jada ever again. But
anyway, no, the Tommy stuff was amazing. Yes, and I really, really liked it. And the other story was really exciting this week. I think Sid's going to be fine in the grand scheme of things, because if he's the thing with medical things, my mum, who's a nurse, has always said to me, it's not the ones that are rolling around on the floor going, "Oh, you've hurt me, ow." It's the ones that aren't making any noise that you need to worry about. Sid was making loads of noise. He was holding his hands to his chest. He's going to be absolutely fine. All that's going to happen now is the fact that Tommy is now going to be in trouble about the fact that obviously the kids are going to say that he deliberately stabbed them. That's going to happen. And now Tommy's going to be in big trouble, possibly expelled from school. He's going to be in trouble with the police and this knife is obviously going to have Sid's deep blood on it. I'm giving Walford police far too much credit here, but there'll be DNA, all that kind of thing. So maybe he'll be all right. On second thoughts, maybe Tommy will be fine.
I was going to say, we were just saying at the top of this section that like everyone who's been hiding things under the stairs is like the worst place to hide things. You can guarantee that the one group of people, the one person who won't be able to find that knife under the stairs will be Walford police. Because the ineptness of Walford police can never ever be... it's incomparable to the ineptness of anything. No, it's just
never underestimate
their job. Bad.
Never underestimate how crap Walford police are at their job. Tommy's going to be fine. In fact, they're probably going to arrest Sid for being stabbed. Yeah. Don't worry, mate. You'll be absolutely fine. But seriously,
exactly.
quite
you
exciting.
walked into the light, which technically you did.
She did. It was his own fault, honestly. But yeah, honestly, seriously, really, really good stuff this week with the kids and Tommy. I love this whole thing with him and Kat. I really like the relationships that's developing between them. How much of this do you reckon is going to be given to Phil as blame? Like, how much effect do you reckon his last days in Walford had on Tommy?
I mean, Phil, the after effects of all these stories this week, the him handing out the gun and him kind of basically saying to Tommy that you need to man up and that the only way you're going to stop bullies is by defending yourself. You know, I don't care if anyone disagrees with me on this one. I think Phil has a lot to be responsible for on this one. Like, Phil's not exactly the angel on this one, is he? He's kind of forced Kat's hand by making her do something that she doesn't want to do. Introducing a gun into the house, a house which has 4 or 5 young people living in, which is also ridiculous. Yes. There are people living in that house, which is terrible. The fact
none of which are his own kids.
Like, singled out Ben. Yes, and none of his own kids. Yeah. He singled out Ben and just decided that Ben is second rate and not even good enough to be peed on if he was on fire. And the advice he gave to Tommy before he left. So I'm sorry, but Phil has 100% responsibility for every single thing that's falling out in that.
So in answer to my question, everything.
I'd even blame him for Gene, to be fair. Yes,
fair enough.
Yes.
Yep,
I would blame him for Gene because I reckon he swapped Gene's pills for paracetamol accidentally because he knocked him down one day and just decided to pick them up again. So just went to the cupboard and filled him some paracetamol. Oh, that'll be enough. That'll do. There you go. Basket. That'll be Phil. So yeah. So to answer your question, as you quite rightly said, vitamin C. That's what she wants. Yeah, everything is Phil's fault. Everything is Phil's fault.
So Ben. As we mentioned a few times, he's not doing well. He's not doing well this week. He keeps kind of coming in and out. He's clearly drinking a lot. He's clearly going out a lot. As we said last week, Callum doesn't seem to have been really noticed this, but then this is Callum, so it's hardly surprising that he's not really noticed this. And it seems that Ben's kind of dealing a lot of this on his own because again, Kathy's not really interested because Kathy doesn't seem to really care about Ben all that much these days either.
I know.
So. Maybe soon. You never know. So what is going on with Ben exactly? We've had another week of sort of him acting, I mean, I would say differently, maybe a little bit more surly than he usually is with the added fact that he's hungover when he's doing it. So there's what is going on with Ben? Is this depression? Is that what you think it is? That he's just got depression now?
I think so, and it's remarkable, like you said, that no one seems to care. Not even Callum seems to care. Callum's got no involvement with his life whatsoever. And I thought the last time we saw Ben and Callum together, they were on good terms. So I'm kind of surprised that Callum's not particularly concerned by seeing his boyfriend.
I know, but the last time that we really saw Ben and Callum together was when Callum was kind of standing on being the Rosa Parks of the gay community and was kind of just, standing in front of the gay bar trying to stop Jack and one step away from saying, if you prick us, do we not bleed? He was that clear. So that's really the last time that we've really seen that. So that's really the last time that we saw Ben and Callum kind of interacting. And since then, we haven't really seen a lot of Ben. And we're just doing this sort of thing where Ben is now depressed or Ben is now drinking a lot. What do you think of the idea of Ben? I mean, I suppose we've had Linda being an alcoholic, so it might not happen, but I would kind of be interested to see Ben having a bit of a battle with alcohol. With his bearing in mind everything that's gone on with Phil, that might be what do you reckon about Ben and Phil sort of mirror parallel type thing with that?
I do get that, and I understand where you would see that. I would feel a little bit cheapened if that was going to be a story. I don't hate it. I think I'd be more interested if perhaps he turned to drugs, maybe. Maybe that could be something a bit different.
Well, Phil's done that as well.
Because obviously Phil did do that as well. Exactly. Phil's done that with a few times. I don't know. I wonder what path they're taking, because we've already said that perhaps with Ben, as soon as he starts getting acceptance back into the family, which he's slowly got something a little bit this week, I think he'll suddenly, and it will trigger him, and it will just go straight back onto the straight and narrow again, and we'll just be back onto the roundabout again, and we'll start doing stories with them.
Yes. Well, we don't know what, but there has been a story that has been, I'm not even say leaked, but apparently all we know is that there is a Big Ben story coming up. I don't think you think that's that much of a spoiler, because Max Bowden's apparently had to do research. So God knows what this could, God knows what hell is coming towards Ben at this moment. So do let us know in the comment section. What we genuinely don't know.
Or if you're listening, do get in touch with us on Twitter and Instagram. All the details will be at the end of the show. Right, next story then. And as we kind of touched upon just now by talking about Jada and Will. Jada had a party, the world's lamest party, at Sharon's house, while Sharon was away getting plucked, pampered and polished. God only knows what she was doing. But my goodness, can we just say, yes. How beautiful did Tish look? Tish Dean came back looking
glowing.
She did look fit. She looked like a brand new pin.
Honestly, if Tisha Dean this week had turned around to me and said, Rob, me, you, upstairs now, I don't think the words I'm gay, Tish, sorry would come out of my mouth automatically. I really don't. She looked stunning this week, didn't she? Absolutely stunning. So, not that Tish doesn't always look good, because Sharon is a gorgeous woman and Tish is a gorgeous woman, but particularly this week, Tish, call me. You're looking good. Looking good, Tish. Nice one. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while. Right, it's a rough lockdown. Yeah, so the whole thing with Jada and this ridiculous party, I wanted to ask you briefly, who is worse, Jada's friends or Madison and Alexa? What do you reckon? Who are the worst pair of girls? Because there's similarities there, isn't there?
I mean, Madison and Alexa used to make me angry because of what they were, because they were really they were good bullies, let's just say. So whenever they used to do something, I used to get quite to Bex, like locking her in a cupboard or flushing her head down the toilet or putting like words on her head with a permanent pyro. That used to make me upset. So as much as I hated the characters because they were bad characters. They were nasty characters. So they were understandably they were characters you loved to hate.
You thought they were good bad characters. Okay.
But they were. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed their bullying. Even the bit at the end when they kind of got escorted down with everyone booing them down the school hall. Oh God, they were the days. Yeah. Just reminding me of the Bex bullying storyline.
Do not look back on the Sean O'Connor era in front of me with happiness. Never do that in front of me, Alex. You know my feelings.
It's camp joy. The friends of Jada wind me up purely because they just don't seem to have any substance. Like they just kind of come in, they film things on their phone, they say really ridiculous things like we said, like ping or peng or whatever stuff like that. And then they just kind of then scurry away whenever Jada gets in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, I know I'm old, but at least I admit I'm old. Yeah. I'm not trying to write stories for these young people.
Both of us. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was this whole party.
The one bit
I just think that even calling it a party feels wrong, and it feels like we're not actually giving it its true service. It wasn't a party at all. It wasn't even a gathering. All it was those two turning up at the house, realising that somehow everyone had been given the wrong day. I don't know what Jada thought was going to happen. Like, was she really that stupid that she thought that basically her whole entire, everybody that she knows was going to turn up at the house, have this mad party where she apparently knew that there was going to be drugs there and no evidence was going to be left absolutely anywhere and she was going to get away with it, and that the baby was going to just kind of sit through it all upstairs with no issues whatsoever? Did she really think that was going to happen? Is she that much of an idiot?
Well, she is that much of an idiot, clearly. And every time she does something stupid, she always then wraps it up by getting Zack and Martin around her little finger by saying like, oh, I've learned my lesson this time. Oh, if you don't tell Sharon. Because she's terrified of Sharon, which cracks me up. Every time she does something wrong, she's terrified that Sharon's going to do something. I know. Sharon is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, Hurricane Sharon. She can just come down from the sky in a whirlwind. But but she convinces Martin and Zack every time to kind of like lie for her, and she's done it again this time around. And I just don't know what, especially in Zack's mind, because Zack kept repeatedly saying, I promised Sharon that I wouldn't lie to her again. I promised her I wouldn't do that again. And all it took was Martin saying, "Hey, mate, come on, cling, we can do it. Let's do it for her." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it then." I just find it really confusing. I don't know why. Well, I think if she was honest with Sharon, I don't think Sharon would care.
No, because it's not like Sharon's had an innocent life. The thing is, I have a theory about where this might be going, because I have a feeling that Jada is going to start developing feelings for either Martin or Zack. I think Martin. Because Martin's in that house for a reason. Zack, you can understand him being there. You sort of kind of think that they could easily kind of put Martin elsewhere. They could even, Martin realistically could go and live with Sonia if they just wrote a couple of scenes of them getting on, couldn't he? So Martin is there for a reason, and I have a feeling that this little, because we had a few little Jada and Martin scenes this week, and Martin really was the person that really kind of was like, do you know what, actually, we don't need to tell Sharon. You know, we've all been young. Let's just let her get away with this. Sharon will never find out. And I think that, I swore there was a little moment where Jada sort of looked at him and sort of smiled to herself, but not in a smirky way, but in a sort of, wow, Martin's really nice kind of way. I think she fancies Martin. And I think she's going to do something really stupid, and Martin's going to end up looking like a... Because how old is Jada? Because I'm a bit confused, because she said that Will was a kid, and I think that's the other thing as well. She said that I don't go after kids, which, you know, is a good philosophy to live by, in all fairness. Yeah, and obviously Martin is a mature, adult. Yes. But obviously, you know, Martin is a fully mature daddy, essentially. So I wonder if that's what that was about more than anything. Because Will, bless him, I felt so sorry for Will this week.
Yeah,
his first crush.
I know.
His first proper crush, and he brought flowers and crisps.
Bag of crisps.
I'd have been happy with the crisps.
Can of
I'd have been happy with the crisps.
Juice. I'd be
sold.
I would have, a bouquet of crisps.
Yeah, that's fine. A bouquet of skips. I'd have been fine with that. I love a skip. Don't you love it? I've fallen asleep in a few. Anyway,
but I do love a skip. I used to love a quaver as well, and a Monster Munch.
Don't be disgusting. You know my feelings on onions and all that kind of thing. That's wrong on all levels. No. Oh,
come on. What about Space Raiders?
No, I don't like them either.
Wait, what's wrong with a Space Raider?
It's pickled onion flavour, isn't it? All of this is going to be cut. But anyway.
We were talking about Tommy, because Tommy brought some crisps and a can of pop and a flower for Jada for their date. And Jada was like, I don't want to have a date with you, despite you bringing a bag of crisps, but they're not skips.
Yes, and, even crisps. Maybe if he brought skips, then he'd probably have got what he wanted. So obviously Sharon is presumably going to find out about this party, and the fact that there was a joint smoked in her house that Will clearly couldn't handle. He had like one drag of it, and I'm not even convinced that he inhaled and vomited all over himself. That was adorable. I like Will now. I think Will's
what's
adorable,
not to love?
And he's going to do it. What's not to love about Will? He's so lovely. I like it. And I like the fact that, like I said earlier, like I alluded to earlier, all the kids sort of stepping up this week. They all had their own little roles, except Janet. And I want Janet now. Because with all the other kids are getting their thing, like I said, even Pearl got lines. I want Janet to have a little role soon, a little storyline. You know, she's got a modelling thing. More Janet stuff, please. Especially now that Will's getting stuff. I'd love to see scenes between Will and Janet and sort of how they deal with each other growing up. That'd be nice.
Because Will and Janet used to get on together quite a lot, didn't they? So there used to be a lot of like stories with Will and Janet, because Will used to defend Janet. So Will was a very admirable kid, which is kind of like they kind of kept that bubbling along as well with Jada, haven't they? Because he's trying to be cool in front of her, but he can't be cool in front of her. You talking about the Martin thing, actually, you just reminded me of something. Like, we said last week that Martin kind of wound Stacey down eventually to then end up getting with Stacey, because like, at first Stacey didn't like Martin, but then he kind of kept, grinding her down until eventually they got together. And, and then
the Martin method, yes.
So do you think that because Martin kind of then said to Jada, you should, give Will a chance. Do you think Will will eventually grind Jada down? Do you think Will and Jada will get together, but then Jada and Martin get together? Do you think Martin will accept?
Maybe.
Do you think Martin will get together with Jada?
No, of course I don't.
Do you
because
not?
Jada's like
Do you
15. I don't. No, Martin's not. Martin is. She's far too young for Martin. What I'm saying is, I believe that Jada will fancy Martin and will try and do some stupid things, which will end up causing problems for Martin. But I don't think Martin would go there in a month of Sundays. She's far too. She's like
what
25 years younger than him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they were to introduce another character who's a bit like Dan and Bianca in old EastEnders 99, but also a bit like what happened to Whitney, and so she starts having a relationship with. So then she does start having a relationship, because actually I quite like that idea as a story. That
would be
starts
interesting.
A relationship with an older guy. Yeah, that would
it's
be
interesting
I'd be on board for that.
Because. Yeah, it's actually really interesting, because if you think about the fact that she's obviously had a kid and she's missing out on being a kid, and we've heard her talk about this occasionally, and the fact that she clearly wants to still have that kid lifestyle, but she's forced to be an adult. And what that tends to do sometimes is make you believe that you are older and more mature than you actually are.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to that's a very easy thing to take advantage of. So actually, you have a great idea there. That would be interesting. Jada is going to be one to watch in the coming months, I think. I think it's going to be a little bit more with Jada beyond the whole sort of irritating teenager and, being silly because she's got a kid. So I think there's going to be more to her in the coming months, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Because I do like her. When she's not dancing on TikTok, I like Jada. Yeah, I do like her as a character.
See,
I think she's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I think I still need to warm to her, but I'm finding her difficult right now. But I don't want to, because I like the character.
Yeah, so I think she's doing like kind of job done.
But I think if we're going down the road that we have to support and sympathise with Jada, then they need to kind of give her a bit more light. Because at the moment, there's too much, as you say, it's too much angstness for her. But that doesn't mean that I'm not writing character off. And just, I just would like to see a bit more of that. One final thing then. There's ever such a small, it was always like a titbit, a bit, right at the end on Friday it kind of came along. And it was Kim's story where she's now getting, Pearl a scholarship into her school. The video that she's edited and put together, we've heard what's in the video, but we've not seen anything of it. And for me,
I really want to see
that's
it.
A missed opportunity. So do I. I desperately want to see these bits that are apparently in the video.
Honestly,
because I think it'll be gold.
3 explosions, Alex. We need to see this video. It sounds amazing. 3 whole explosions. This whole thing with Kim and Pearl and this bloody school. Interesting. The most interesting thing I can tell you about this week is, again, a really geeky thing to say, because I noticed these sorts of things. I noticed it with Jada, and I noticed it with Tommy, and I noticed it with Aaron, and I've now noticed it with Howie, that he is smack bang in the middle of the rest of the credits, as opposed to just on the end as a guest character. So Howie's sticking around. So, and I really liked that little thing with him and Pearl at the end of the week. Which Pearl just got Pearl, all the awards. Love Pearl. And she came in and sort of said that she liked for school, and just gave a really kind of heartfelt kiddie reason for why she wants to be at the school. So I don't think we're really going to see much of this video. This award-winning epic saga blockbuster that Kim's put together. Just the thought that she was going to present this mad video to a board of governors as to why her daughter should remain at this ridiculous school. It's a shame. But yeah, I like this. And I think it's just literally the only reason that we really had this was to kind of cement Howie a little bit more within the sort of Truman Fox household, isn't it? Because there's going to be a gap in that family soon, isn't there? I don't want to throw too many spoilers out there, but there will be one less in a couple of weeks. So it's so they need to fill it somehow, and I think Howie's going to be a good replacement. So watch this space. But I'm intrigued. Like I say, it was all light, fluffy, palate cleansery stuff this week, as a lot of Kim's stuff tends to be. But I am intrigued to sort of see how Howie and Kim are going to start interacting, and how his relationship with Pearl will develop. Because it was like you say, Howie and Denise both kind of said that like the video seemed a little bit OTT, and Kim made him miss his appointment to do balloon monsters for like a kid's party, so that he could help her edit it together. I mean, I cannot emphasize enough, BBC. Please, if you're listening, please
release the video of what Kim's original video was, the audition tape for the school, just for giggles, for me, just send it to me. I won't share it with anyone. It could be just our little secret. Yeah, just for me. But yeah, so hopefully next week we'll find out that Howie maybe alters the video, sends it away, and then see what happens about that.
And Kim will be crossed.
But, I mean, I love Pearl. She's so cute, isn't she? I mean, it's like you said, there's been so many kids on the episode this week. Like it's been ever since Gray's disappeared, children have been allowed outside again to play in Nelwood Square. So,
now a child cat just disappeared.
Yeah. Now all that's happened, it's all gone. Actually, we should mention, while we're talking about kids, that also this week Macamia had a little scene with Mitch and Karen, because Mitch and Karen
this is what I mean.
Kind of talked to them on the sofa. Because Matt Camilla got bullied. Well, not bullied, but they were given... Arthur told them what Jean had told him at the train station.
Yeah.
And they then... I know! All this stuff happening at Walford.
There's a whole soap happening just with the kids this week. It's been brilliant.
But yeah, there's a lovely scene with Mitch and Karen. And Mitch and Karen have kind of got back together again. And you can tell that they've forgiven each other. And so, again, it was the right thing to do. It kind of brought the kind of everything that happened last week, where they were getting really upset and wound up over, what Gray had done to their family, and Mitch and Karen have finally made a bond, and they're back together again, and they're going to look after Macamia. So the question of who is ultimately going to be looking after Macamia, it looks as though it's going to be Karen and
Mitch.
And not Chelsea after all. But then we also got this week that Chelsea kind of wants to continue.
Chelsea doesn't even want her own kid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So exactly.
It was unlikely.
She want her own kids.
It was unlikely, wasn't it? Yeah. It doesn't seem that Whitney's going to be that involved with them either. But I like it. I did wonder if they were going to just sort of fill in the Chatham and Riley role that I assume we're never going to hear about Chatham and Riley ever again, which is a shame. But
I think
there you go. So. Yes, unfortunately so. So overall, not a bad week, not a huge explosive week, but a nice little character week. I enjoyed it. I don't think
it had to be explosive really, because we've had such a busy couple of weeks prior to this. So I think you're gonna have the rough with the smooth. You're gonna have a few calmer parts, and as you said, it was much more character driven. So I think we learned a lot more, especially about the younger characters. So actually, I didn't mind the week at all. It felt like, as I said, it felt like EastEnders. It felt like another week of EastEnders.
So, that was this week's EastEnders. Do let us know what you thought of this week by contacting us on Twitter and Instagram at Walford Weekly. You can find us on Facebook at Walford Weekly Podcast. On YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe and click the bell to get notifications about our spoiler videos. And you can listen to us on Apple, Podbean, Spotify or any of your favourite podcast sites. Email us at robwalfordweekly@gmail.com or alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com, and we will read out your comments next week. Thank you very much, Alex. That was a fun episode 200. Can you believe it? Episode 200. Here's to the next 200.
I know.
The next big episode. What do you reckon? Is it 250? You've always said to me that you think 250 is a bigger thing than 200, haven't you?
Yeah, because it's one of those weird things, isn't it? It's like you celebrate 100, 250, 500, then 1,000. So as you get progressively higher, there's a longer gap between each one. But tell me if you guys want us to celebrate the episode 216, then we will have a big party on episode 216.
We'll get absolutely hammered.
We would. And also, can I just ask people that if you love our line of the week that we post on our Twitter and our Instagram, and you watch EastEnders and you think of something that we could use as our line of the week, please do get in touch with us, because we love when people give us ideas and nominations for their line of the week. People have been doing it recently, and it's not only helped me, but it's also great to be able to tag people who give us to say they listen to the show. So thank you, and keep it coming.
Absolutely. So we should be back same time next week. Just think about this. We've got another year until we hit about episode 250. We've got a year to plan the big old anniversary party. Let's do that. So until episode 201 next week, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye!
See you next week. Bye!
You know me, I ain't one to